Hi all, in this video I'm going to show you how I built this simple worm farm out of a single container. It's a much easier design than the tower system that I recently posted, and actually it's my preferred design because I keep a lot of worms, so I can have various units like this one. So what you're going to need is a drill with a 1/4 inch drill piece and also an 1/8 inch drill piece, which I think has fallen down on the floor somewhere. You're also going to need a hole saw. The size doesn't really matter too much. I'm going to go with this 1.5 inch. We're going to need a utility knife or a blade like this just to clean up the holes that we drill. Then we're going to need some fly screen, which we're going to glue into the underside of the lid, as you can see here. So we have some silicone glue there, and it's a good idea when gluing stuff to plastic to actually rough up the surface where the glue is going to go. It just takes better. And obviously something to cut the fly screen. So let's see how this was put together. Okay, so I've got my 1/8 inch drill bit on here. For now I don't need the top, so I'm going to put that to the side and quite simply just flip this over. It doesn't have to look pretty, you just need enough of it. How many depends on the size of the container. And on this particular container there's this ridge which is going to form a low part, so the water doesn't get trapped inside there. Make sure you drill some holes all the way around. That is it. That is all we need to have sufficient drainage in the worm farm. And please do collect these plastic pieces, put them into a plastic bottle that's due for the recycling bin. Depending on your drill bit, you may have little plastic burrs like this left in the bottom. You can possibly leave them, but you know, if they fold down like so, maybe eventually the hole gets blocked. So you can either take a utility or box cutter like this, or maybe even just the blade, and just give each one a little clean up like so. And again, collect all these plastic pieces. So I now have my clean drainage holes in the bottom. What I now need is aeration holes in the side. I've put a 1/4 inch drill bit on. We need to remember that there's going to be worms in their medium in this container. This particular container is 14.5 inches deep. I just decided that I would measure down from the bottom of this rim like 5 inches. And just take my Sharpie just to put a line like that. Do that on all 4 sides so that all my holes are basically above that line. I'm now going to start drilling holes all the way around. I now have the aeration holes on all 4 sides. I've put a hole saw on here. This particular one is 1.5 inches. It doesn't really matter what size you use, but the bigger the better, I guess. So we now need the lid. I'm going to secure that down for support and then start putting some holes in. After cleaning these up, we're just going to cut some fly screen, a piece to fit in the bottom here, and another piece to stick on the inside. So the holes are all cleaned up. All that's left to do is cut a piece of the fly screen that will fit inside on the top, and another one for the base. I've inserted this piece of fly screen into the base. It's roughly cut, but it fits. On previous projects I've actually glued this in place with silicone. For this particular container we're going to leave it loose to make cleaning it easier. Here is the finished lid. I put some glue here, a few lines down here, and then all the way around the perimeter. And then you can just let it dry. It doesn't have to look pretty. You can let it dry, and then if there's parts that aren't quite stuck down, you can just stick them down again. Here is the completed worm farm. There's actually worms in it, so let's have a look inside. A lot of people ask me, what should the bedding look like, what kind of moisture should it have, etc, etc. It's a good idea to use gloves when you're poking around in here. I mean, a healthy worm farm shouldn't have anything in it that could harm you, but it's just good hygiene. So, on top I've actually just got a load of pretty dry newspaper, egg carton, leaves and stuff mixed in, and then underneath the worms are basically in a mixture. Sorry about the truck going past. The worms are just in a mixture of compost, regular compost that I made in the backyard, and the castings of that, and also other organic material like crushed up leaves and stuff. So they're happy as hell in there. So as you can see, there's no water dripping off this at all. If you pick up a handful of the worms in their substrate and you squeeze it and there's loads of water coming out, then they're basically drowning in that. It's not how they like it, and that's going to slow down their activity as well. So going right down to the bottom, you can see a mixture of compost, and this is actually getting close to being a finished product. It's always a good idea to check this every other day at least, and then if you feel that it's a little bit on the dry side, you can just take a garden spray or something, and this is how I like to add moisture. Okay, that looks good to go. Nice simple design is probably my favourite one. These containers cost around 200 pesos or so in Lay supermarket or somewhere like that, and the fly screen was just the plastic stuff. I believe it's around 10 or 12 pesos per metre. So a very inexpensive worm farm, and nice and spacious. Easier to make than the tower system that I recently posted. But whatever worm farm works for you, you can try them both and see what you prefer. Thanks for watching.